What's good, everybody? It's Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction, back at it with another reaction. Oh man, we got a heated debate with Joe Budden and his host over Lil Wayne's legacy. Is he trapped by his legacy? Now, if you're new to the channel, make sure you leave, like, subscribe, notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a new video on the road to 10K. I like to react to things that I'm into or that everything. If it's all here, I'm into it. But as a rapper myself and a consumer of hip hop, it is interesting having these talking points. I like hearing Joe Budden's point of view because this is someone who's either worked with other rappers, he's had his rapping career, so and he knows the business. So his perspective I do look at, and then I have my own experience, and then it's just the act of artists who have been in the game so long, have had this massive success, and then they get to a point where I wouldn't say they feel stuck, but it's interesting because there was this video I watched earlier and it was talking about this dip method. And the method essentially was just all like when you do pretty much anything, you have these highs and then there's this dip. And that dip, there really is no amount of time that dip lasts. But, if you get through the dip and you keep on, and it's kind of like a continuous thing throughout life. And so you can look at it, roller coaster, whatever. But I think the same thing's going on with Kanye West. So I want to know why it got heated and see what the thoughts are behind that, and then I'll give y'all my thoughts as well. So let's get into it. And if you're looking at this, you're like, why is there, it's not showing them, it's because of copyright. Like I already know if you've seen other channels, you pretty much see either there's like still frames or something else. So we'll be able to hear them at least. So let's get into it.
I was wanting to talk about Lil Wayne's evolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Drake evolves constantly because he adjusts to the time. Wayne
That's
evolution peaked,
debatable.
and does the evolution come, or is he trapped by his legacy? Meaning that the fans expect a certain sound. Is his sound outdated, or has evolution peaked? Like if you look at Jay keeps evolving. Jay come back and does music. He sounds good when he does it. His lifestyle also on the front screen or in front of us shows that he's evolving, and we want to follow it. When it comes to Wayne as being one of the greats that changed the game at one point, has his evolution peaked?
You
I wouldn't
know,
say peak, but
okay, so the evolution thing and the people he compared. So I understand what he's saying about Jay-Z. That's a very good comparison. But I think the evolution that he was saying towards Drake, I wouldn't say that's an evolution versus you kind of keeping up with the trends. I would say that there's a difference between adaptation and copying to, and evolution. And I think that what he was talking about with Drake was adaptation, or just adapting to new sounds and different things like that. I wouldn't consider what Drake is doing as evolving because he's staying the same Drake, but putting on different clothes, if that makes sense. And the clothes are the different styles. That's the adaptation. The evolution that he was saying with Jay-Z, we can see that evolution as far as in his music. We're not going to say as far as from the street life to da 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 da. We'll just say strictly music and what it is that he talks about and what it is that he incorporates. You can't say something like the Black Album is anywhere close sonically, lyric wise, or anything like a Magna Carta Holy Grail, a 444. Even going from Magna Carta to 444, there was evolution as far as with that. So those I think there might be something throughout this where they might be, or maybe it's just him. But I think that there's a difference between adaptation and evolution. But being trapped by his legacy with Lil Wayne, I would say, because there was a point in time where I was just hyped to hear Lil Wayne on something, whether it be the mixtapes or it be the guest features. He was just doing so much of it that I know I still haven't even heard everything. I know, even though I tried to stay up with every new mixtape, whether he put it out or somebody put it together, the dedication series, the no ceilings, the card, like he did that. And I feel like he was able to evolve as far as getting more into the rock, the skater type of things, him getting into the sports. And I guess that maybe is an evolution versus showing more of his interest. I think if you heard his lyrics, I don't think any of this is a surprise. Maybe like the skating thing and then the rock. But I think that ultimately Lil Wayne, there was an evolution automatically with Lil Wayne due to him being surrounded by legit musicians. And I think that made him think about creating songs differently and just being able to try things out. So I think that he has that evolution, and I think that that's what they meant. And I think that as far as him peaking and being trapped in his legacy, I mean, that's a good question. Um, that's a good question. Let's see what Joe
Say
Budden.
Like, or is it
Plateaued, maybe
or
the better
plateau,
word.
or
Yeah.
is it stagnant? Is it when we look at Wayne, right? Are we looking forward to hear something new from him? And the
Yes,
last time
yes.
we are.
Yeah, I am.
I'm always looking
But
forward
is this sound just the same? So are you doing it because of what?
So here's the thing with Wayne. Wayne's not, I mean, he has a couple records where he does it, where he gets vulnerable, gets transparent, tells you about his life, shit
Yeah.
like that. But for the most part, Wayne is just rapping. Wayne's,
And at a high level.
yeah, no, that's not a
Still,
knock. But,
so-
yeah.
but what I'm
Still.
saying is,
Still, absolutely.
he's great at putting words together without saying much. If that makes sense. Like,
I concur. I concur. And I
No,
don't.
but I don't have it in me to listen to y'all live just because we're on the podcast today.
But wait, but
Who-
Joe, before that, Joe, wait.
Both of y'all.
Where the line?
Joe, wait, hold on, wait, guys. I
Wayne
just
has been absolutely fucking
because I want
destroying features.
I want
for-
to keep up with y'all real quick. Evolution to me, when I look
I
at
want to fight with these niggas.
no, you can, Joe. But let me just say that, just please.
Go ahead.
Evolution to me, when I look at Jay,
Evolution.
yes, he can rap, he can still rap, but I think his lifestyle surrounding it, the moves that he's making in real life, makes me feel
His
that
lyrics reflect the growth of his lifestyle.
There
He's
we
no
go.
longer rapping about selling drugs and shit like that.
you
He's
got it. So he's
talking about his
currently
current lifestyle.
evolving. So what are we looking?
But that's because Jay always is talking about his life in his raps.
So-
even from the selling drugs point. And that's what I'm saying about Wayne. Wayne wasn't really doing that. He wasn't really talking about my life.
The answer to your question is yes, Wayne is peaked. Like, I don't know what they're talking about.
Gotcha.
It's a very quick,
plateau, yeah,
quick
yes.
and simple.
Yeah, peak imply.
And I think that you can still look forward to hearing a verse, like the homie said, as well as acknowledging that there may have been a peak. Now, I get what Joe's saying. And the reason why I think about that is because there's two artists that come to mind who sometimes I have to ask myself, as the fan and also as the rapper, is this actually good? Heck, same thing with Kanye West. When I hear some of their newer stuff, now with Lil Wayne, I like the fact that he was just like, I have to listen to my older stuff just so that way I don't repeat the same things. And you can kind of tell, with some of his new verses, not saying that they're not dope, but there's an edge missing that I feel like should be there due to his skill and time in the game. But sometimes I'm just all like, that. Are we just saying it's dope? Same thing with Eminem. His most recent album, I was hearing some of the stuff. I even reacted to some of the stuff. And I've been thinking this for a time with Eminem. I've been thinking, I've been having this thought about Eminem for some time. And I'm just all like, what? This isn't actually good. And some people be like, oh, you're not listening, you don't get it. Da, da, da. Damn it, I am a lyricist. I'm a quote unquote conscious rapper or whatever. The reason that I mainly listen to music is for the words. So I'm not trippy, like I'm not sitting up there like, oh, da da da. But there is empathy that I do have because, well, before I get into that point, there's empathy I do have because for as long as they've been in the game, and we'll say specifically Lil Wayne, it's gotta be at some point to not say the same things. It's gotta be very, very difficult. So I can understand as you get older and you're just like, dang, I've said all of these lines in all of these different ways and mentioned this X, Y, and Z. So that's why, I'm not on Lil Wayne as far as, going at him like that. Like the homie was saying, he's just all like Lil Wayne wasn't the type of artist to put his life in his music like that. And I guess for a type of artist like that, the evolution would be in the sounds. And maybe that's what's next for Lil Wayne's evolution is to get a little bit more vulnerable in his music and still keep it him. Maybe as far as Pete, baby, there's still a lot more. It's just all like as men, they'll keep a lot of stuff in, even as artists, rappers, lyricists, singers, even then, there's still sometimes a lot that we keep held in. And I think that if Lil Wayne, as they said, as Hobie was saying, Lil Wayne, like Jay-Z put his life in his music. Lil Wayne, it's like there would be aspects of it, but he's more so in the exercise, the lyrical wordplay of rapping and putting words together. So there is that room for Lil Wayne. There's more for him to do. So if he so decides to do so,
It's going down.
No.
Yes, that's what a
implies-
peak means.
a
A peak
plateau
is here.
means
A
you hit the-
plateau is up and you're going over.
Let me fight with them.
ahead.
Let me have my fight with them. I don't even think y'all have a foundation to lay this argument on. Wayne, we can safely say we've seen the absolute best of. I don't give a fuck if his rhyming improves for the next 5 and 10 years. That moment in time where what he's doing is in sync with what the people backing him is doing, is in sync with how the fans are receiving him, in sync with making his best music, songs, choruses, performance, Billboard. That has happened already.
I think you're talking.
We're not getting that whole entire run, all of the joints that we have. If Wayne go get in the booth 20 times right now, none of that's coming out.
I think that you're talking.
He's just
about,
doing some great rhyming.
I think you're talking about business and.
I'm talking about artistry.
Yes and no, because I think that he still
go, Paul.
raps at a very high level. I think that the external forces of the label being behind it and being in tune with the times and all that shit, yes, maybe that has passed him by, and that's fine. I think that his ability to rap is still A++. I don't think that has. I think it's plateaued.
Your ability
You
to
get to the
rap
top and then you
is
keep
only
going.
a certain percentage of your artistry
Agreed.
and how it's defined.
Agreed, but again,
I'm
you're
not
talking-
questioning his rap skills. When he did the Niggas Done Started Something shit a year and a half ago, anytime he get on something and raps and is focused,
He goes.
His rap skills will be indisputable. I think his peak encapsulates a little more than just that. Something you forgot If you send him in the booth 20 times today, 30 times, 40 times, that's not coming out of there.
I disagree.
It was a moment
disagree
in
with
time.
that. I disagree with that.
As do I.
Is that in totality, as far as like what Park said, like what you said, label, people behind him?
I think that rapping.
Yes.
I think
Yes, I think all
rapping.
of that.
Yeah, but I think a lot goes into artistry when we talk about it, right? Like rapping is like riding a bike for me. It's like you having a jump shot. Ray Allen today could walk on a basketball court and make jump shots.
Yes.
That is the ability to rap for rappers at this echelon.
Echelon.
The echelon. The other stuff, your song making ability, your chorus making ability, how you come off, how you're presenting yourself, how you understand, how you adapt, all of those other things that you have to have the world in the palm of your hands like he did at one point. As you age, that goes away.
You know what
I
else-
think it's natural.
You know what else it sound like? The hunger part.
Is he trapped by his
Because he might not be trying to do that. Wayne, some people get Eminem. They get to a point where
yeah, but then you peaked.
I don't.
Well, then
think
you peaked. Because if you don't even have the energy in you, back to full circle moment to Flip calling me, yo, you've been a little low energy. That don't mean I can't do what I do. That just mean I ain't had the energy. Hey, newsflash, part of doing this and being received a certain way is having energy.
True. That you can get that energy back too, though, and get right back to where you was.
I haven't seen that, and we haven't seen that for a lot of years.
True, but that does not mean, again, Wayne just sold his catalog for a shit ton of money. Wayne had some legal shit that he was dealing, like, that don't mean that he can't do it.
And that's the thing. Before we get into that, this video is sponsored by me. Hey, if you want to dive into new music, I have a catalog. Yeah. These are not singles. These are albums. But more recently this year, I did release an album called Tame Chaos. So you can listen, stream, download, purchase, all of that in the link in the description. And just, check it out because I want to see if people are actually seeing this and going to the site. So anyways, that's why the question at the beginning is Wayne trapped by his legacy, and the question on can he evolve past, those type of things. What I would say is they bring up some good points. Can Lil Wayne get to that point? We don't know. I think because here's a really good example. I think Nas is a really good example. Nas is pretty consistently put out albums. And the time in between the first King Disease and his whole King Disease and Magic run, I want to say, shit, man. He had several things, lots of things in between there. That was dope. Collab album with Damian Marley, Distant Relatives. He had the Him and Ye album, which didn't do really good. It was very disappointing because you hear something like Still Dreaming. That's the collaboration that I wanted with Nas and freaking Kanye. Like, I digress. Life is Good is stuff after the divorce and everything like that. But there was a period of time where it was just all like he was still putting music out, but it just wasn't hitting. And so Lil Wayne may be in that particular point. But then Nas came back with King's Disease, winning Grammys, everything like that, which was just, it was deserved. But again, it goes down to that whole dip thing I was talking about. I feel like there's going to be a sobering moment for Lil Wayne. There's a lot of stuff that on his level, I couldn't even imagine, but he could put it in the music. Everything as far as with his daughters, as far as his relationships, as far as him growing older in this particular landscape, um, certain past traumas that maybe he didn't want to talk about before. I think that Lil Wayne can, even just the whole him not doing the Super Bowl, even though just because it was in his hometown doesn't mean he was entitled to that. But if him just thinking like, man, like it came to my home city and I wasn't called, a lot of stuff surfacing as far as his performance, him just getting like super faded. I think there's going to be a sobering moment for Lil Wayne. And at that point, I think we'll get the evolution. Whether we get that, I don't know. And maybe some fans don't even care. But I think that if we do get to that point, then he'll be able to break past that plateau, But until then, do I feel like Lil Wayne is trapped by his legacy in the sense that the legacy is keeping him from evolving type of thing? I don't think that is the case. I think that I think that if we look at this from the sense of time just happening and certain expectations we have from artists and for them to stay a particular way or what the next thing is, I think it's important. I think it's completely normal as fans, or if you're not a fan but you just observe hip hop, and it is a curiosity to see what else Lil Wayne will be able to do. You know, we'll see. I'll leave the link in the description so you can watch the full thing. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that, they have a point? Do you think Joe has a point? Do you think that, maybe they're looking at it from the wrong angle? How did y'all take it? Let me know in the comments. But it's Mr. Composition MC that writes fiction. Back at it with another reaction. Make sure to like, subscribe, notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a new video on the road to 10K. Make sure to check out the description for music, books, comics, and more. Ciao. Peace.